What's up, everyone? It's Jeremy Majors here with Majors Academy Dog Training out of Green Bay, Wisconsin. And we are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. This is our weekly Q&A show where we answer your questions, any of them that you may have. Feel free to ask as many as you like because they will help out others who are watching that have similar problems. So feel free to ask as many questions as you like. All right. We are going to talk about dogs and children. This is a really good topic to talk about. A really tough topic to talk about. Well, it's not tough to talk about, but it is. I have very strict rules that I follow and give out. The advice that I give out is very strict because we don't want the kids to get hurt at all. And I love the kids, so we're going to be answering questions pretty much the majority of this podcast, this live stream, and we're going to be talking about children. All right. Before we get into it, well, let's see. I've got 3 dogs left. We are in our second week. I've got 3 dogs here, and one name is Roscoe. It's a Husky, and I got Brutus, who's a pit bull, and then I have Brandy, who's a lab mix. And all here for various issues, different issues. We have dog aggression. We have human aggression. And we just have some general obedience stuff. But the majority of the dogs that I work with are going to be aggressive in some way. And when people think that they need to have a trainer in the area that does it, well, there's not many trainers in the area at all that will be willing to work with aggressive dogs. We're having trouble going live on Instagram right now, but hopefully we can get it going. Anyway, let's answer some questions. Okay. First question was from Amanda. Amanda says, I would like to give a specific scenario and would love it if you have time to address it. Our Dalmatian is a 1-year-old female. She is spayed. She is wonderful with adults, but has fear of new dogs and children, but only for the first moments while meeting them. It's a crap show, and I would like to learn how to better manage the room and her fear every time a little one comes over. Example, last night we had a birthday party. Had it been all adults, she wouldn't have skipped a beat. There were little ones over. She sees the children and cowers and squats and starts urinating and then starts a scared bark. Once we work through her meeting them, she's fine. She acts like she has always known them. She will lay in the middle of the floor and let them pet her and be as relaxed as she always is. It's that time of people walking in or the time of her realizing that they are not scary that is really difficult. I know I need to look a consistent way to help her and struggling to do so. All right. Well, what you want to do is you have to get her under control whenever she seems to try and be in control or out of control or nervous. So that first 10 minutes when people are coming in, that's where she needs guidance. She needs you to be there for her to help that transition go smoother. One way to do so is to keep her on leash when people come in and tell the whoever to ignore them. And then once she calms down and is herself, like you said, then she can come off leash. She can be off leash. But I would say for the first 10 minutes, you want to keep the dog on leash, and so that again, um, the dog knows that you're in control of the dog, and then you want to keep people away from the dog, so that the dog knows that you are in control of the people. It's the lack of both of those scenarios which makes the dog nervous. You're not in control of the dog, and you're not in control of the people. And so some dogs have a really hard time dealing with not being in control, or not, or I would say new people, or it may even be just people coming through the door, and then immediately paying attention to her. So, hi, Chris. Let's. I don't at the moment. I will be ordering some though, and would definitely get you a shirt. Um, yeah, that's no problem. You're welcome. Feel free to ask another question. Uh, oh, let's give you an update on Brandy. Brandy is doing wonderful, right on track. I don't really see anything in particular that, again, that I would be concerned with. Um, we're actually going to give her a bath at the end of the week and see how she does. And but I think she's going to do great. She just is very impulsive. I would say that, so we're working through that. She has trouble controlling her impulses to do what she wants and take off and things like that. So that's what we're working through. And but I have no doubt that we'll get to where we want to get to with her. She's great. Uh, Hi, I sent you an email today about a dog approaching off leash. Oh, yes, 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 yes. Okay. I can answer that question. I think I read it over. Um, when a dog approaches you off leash, you must have that doggy don't. If you don't have the doggy don't or the pet convincer, then you should get one right away. I would prefer the doggy don't, that you get the doggy don't, uh, because it has a battery, and the pet convincer you have to have cartridges, which is a pain to always want to buy them, or have to buy them. But yeah, you have to get a doggy don't to protect the dog that you're walking, and it's very unfortunate if if your dog gets hurt, or you get hurt. But both of those are possibilities, and the doggy don't would 99%. Uh, I had it on him. No, not the e-collar. I'm talking about the doggy don't. Oh, you did have it. Okay. Well, that's, I mean, that's an unfortunate situation. If it's an isolated incident, then again, you know, there's really nothing you can do about it in regards to that dog. But yes, the noise. Yep. But what I have had success with, I've never had a dog attacked on leash. But usually, what I have going on, or how I've had success is that when I'm walking a dog, and I see a dog approaching. Usually, obviously, I'm always on alert because I can't have dogs approaching me. But when I'm on leash, I put myself in between the dog and I, and then I um, have the doggy don't in my hand. So I have the leash in my hand, my left hand. Then I have the doggy don't in my right hand. So it's already ready. And then you hold the dog back with your left hand if you can, and then you use the doggy don't with your right hand. Um, and again, I've never had a dog, uh, you know, where the doggy don't didn't work. The doggy don't works big time. So unfortunately, I'll definitely respond to your email in more depth, um, but that's what I'll say about that for now. I'll give you a more in depth answer through email, and feel free to call me as well. All right, thank you. Okay, Next question. Okay, let me pull up the live feed here. Whoa. Okay. Hey, Jeremy. You helped us with a fearful human aggressive husky rescue 4 summers ago. He's doing well. We got a second rescue 2 years ago. I've never used the e-collar with her because she never needed it. Good listener. We just got a third rescue puppy. Our second rescue appears very sad and angry. We've tried a slow introduction. It's almost been 2 weeks without improvement. She's actually snapped at the puppy when the puppy approaches her, or try to hold the puppy down, even if we've exercised her a time. Tried giving her special treats when near each other, too. Okay, let's see about this. All right. He helped us with a feel for human aggressive 4 summers ago. He's doing well. We got a second rescue 2 years ago. I've never used knee collar with her because she never needed it. Good listener. We just got a third rescue puppy. Our second rescue puppy appears very sad and angry. Tried slow introductions. It's almost 2 weeks with no improvements. She actually snapped at the puppy when the puppy approaches. Okay. Well, the second rescue then, if the second rescue decides to act out and act angry towards your new puppy, two things have to happen. One is, for now, maybe you want to see if your puppy is being obnoxious to your older dog, and for two, make sure you give your older dog, the second rescue, a consequence for acting naughty. But you got to make sure their behavior isn't warranted, because it could be. If the puppy is being too obnoxious and the older dog decides to correct the puppy, then that's okay. If the old dog, is being unfair to the puppy, then you want to give give the older dog a consequence. And 2 weeks is, that's not too much time. Let it marinate for a little bit longer. That's okay if they're angry or sad or whatnot. It's just maybe getting used to the new energy in the house. That's all right. Give it a few more weeks, and things may improve. But again, like you said, keep introducing them very slowly, and take your time. You have all the time in the world, and they may end up liking each other. Hi, Elise. How are you? All right. Well, thank you for your question. Feel free to ask another. Okay, Lauren. I have a 10-year-old boxer who was a former therapy hospice dog. Very sweet and literally has never snapped or even growled. Loves people and is great with kids slash baby. I'm having is he is so darn clumsy and having a hard time with his face. He will often nearly step on the baby or has stepped on the toddler multiple times on recently, and I think it's more lack of control of his hind legs, but I'm wondering if it may be attention seeking behavior. How do I teach him to respect the kids and the babies and not get so close? He hasn't been kenneled in years, although we do have one, but I want to live whatever time he has left as a part of our family. And I hate yelling and always correcting him for lack of space. Okay, Lauren, I think what I would do there in that situation is I would teach that dog to go lay down on its bed. Um, you may be right when it comes to the dog wanting to seek attention for whatever reason. You've got to remember that when you are maybe playing with your baby or kids and or whatever, then the dog should should have no part of it really. The dog should have its own time with you, apart from the kids. So I kind of use I'd kind of use that as a rule, just like I would enforce multiple dog homes with dogs who are fighting, which is I pet one dog at a time, and the other dog has to go lay down. You know what I mean? Um, and so that's kind of the rule that I would enforce in your scenario. When I'm paying attention to the children, and he wants to come over and get petted, well, too bad. He has to go lay down on his bed, and then once maybe things are settled with the kids, then you can go pay attention to the to your dog. But I'd make I'd give them both individual time so that uh, the most important thing is, you know, you tell the dog to lay down, uh, and the dog actually do so. All right, that'll solve that. Okay, let's see what's next. I'm really excited about your topic tonight. How can we ensure a strong bond between our dog and our child? Sammy's formed a strong bond with Baby and is indifferent to Nolan. Nolan is on a wait list for a service dog, but I would love bonding tips if you have any. Okay, bonding with your dog in general um, would um, would have to, in some form or fashion, um, if your child can somehow work the dog or walk the dog or feed the dog or um, throw the ball with the dog, some sort of activity where the dog and the child are playing somehow, even tug of war if your dog is good, but some sort of play and or working activity usually helps. Um, when I bond with my dogs, the first thing that I do when I get a new dog is I like to take them on a long off leash walk. Um, and I just like to walk with them. Not a lot of talking, just walking and exploring together, things like that. That's what I would do. Um, there are plenty of activities though that you can sort of do with them when it comes to treats too. I know Sammy's a hungry puppy, so let me know how it goes. All right. Let's see what else we got. What is a shirt that you have on? I have a Majors Academy shirt on. Pretty dope. You guys can see it. It's pretty comfortable too. Okay, next question comes from Mary. Mary says, I have a, wait a minute. I got some questions to answer as well. When I get through the questions, I'm going to give you guys sort of the breakdown on what I did while they're with me. And so I want to give you kind of what I've experienced my own right, my first kid. And maybe some of that stuff will help. Okay. Mary asks, I have a 1.5-year-old lab pit mix. She is such a lover, except when it comes to the small dogs and children. When I take her on walks, she doesn't growl, but pulls on the leash and aggressively barks at smaller dogs. She likes to chase bunnies and rabbits. When we had our friends over that she hasn't met before, their two older children, 8 and 11, she was fine with. Their 5-year-old, she would be nervous around and bark sometimes. Another little one is almost 2, was at our home and she was nervous and would bark at him as well. How do I change this behavior? So when the dog is barking at anything, that dog usually means, or it usually means the dog is nervous. And you have to we have to figure out how to advocate for them. Let's just say that in those moments, to make sure that they can know that they don't have to bark. When the dog is barking at young children, that means they don't want the children around. And it also means that they think the children are going to come to them. They don't want that. And so how to change that is you have to control the children and you have to also control the dog. If you can do both of those things for long enough, the dog will stop barking and end up warming up to the children. You got to have good children, though. You got to have children that listen, because some children just bombard dogs, and that's how children get bit, and that's how dogs get in big trouble. And so, you just got to have be in control of that situation. Okay, be in control of the kids, and be in control of the dog. If the dog is listening to you, then the dog actually opens up its mind to change. If the children are listening to you, then the dog is definitely going to be more likely to want to engage with the children and see what children have to offer. But the younger ones are obviously a little bit more unstable than the older children, and so they bring that energy, that unstable energy to a dog's mind, and that's what's going on. Your dog is saying, "I don't want them around. I don't know about them." It's that small, even with small dogs, your dog doesn't like small dogs. And that's because most of the time, small dogs are the ones who are not in control. So that's what you have to figure out now. You have to figure out again how to, you can, you know, you can, you can, mm, and this goes for adult dogs who have trouble with people coming through the door too. If you have a dog who is at all human aggressive with people coming through the door, those first 10 to 15 minutes are going to be crucial. I would even say you can even go 5 minutes. Those first 5 minutes are very crucial, um, to be in control of your dog, because your dog decides she or he need to take control in that situation by barking, jumping, biting. That's all controlling behavior. So that's that. Thank you for your question. Let's see if we've got any more live here. All right, let's talk. I'm gonna share my experience. I want to share my experience with you guys when it comes to my dogs and my children. Okay, so I obviously feel like I'm always preaching that I have a ton of time, and so I really use that time very slowly. The first thing I wanted to do is get my dogs used to the smell, the sight, and the sounds of Reginald without the ability for them to come up. Because again, some dogs want to come up and sniff, not because they're friendly, but because they want to be investigative, and they may go into control mode if they perceive the small child as something that is out of control. So the best thing that you can do, or one of the best things that you can do, is create separation via obedience, not I mean secondary. If you can't get that, which you should, before you if you're nervous, if your dog is nervous around children, you absolutely should. But you should be able to voice command, tell your dog to go lay down when you are spending time with your child. When you're spending time with your child, the dog should not be involved whenever they want. It should be on your terms at the very least. But for now, for me, I wanted to separate the two. It's what I do if I have a new puppy, that I bring a new puppy in. Same sort of protocol. If I have a new puppy and I know he's going to be obnoxious, and I know he's going to be foreign, and I know he's going to foreign to the dogs, I know that he's going to be obnoxious. I keep them separate until things sort of calm down, until your dog decides to sort of be indifferent to the new whatever. Then you can take the next step, but it may take a couple weeks, may take a month. Um, and then so again, I probably took, I don't know, a couple of weeks of just bringing him around them, but not allowing them to come up, and then just letting them play and stuff like that. And then I would take him on a walk in the stroller with the dogs off leash around, different areas. Um, and that's kind of good because the dog can, um, sort of move with the child. And again, just getting used to everything the child has to bring. You don't want your dog again to be get super excited or anything but calm when the baby decides to cry, when the baby decides to whine, when the baby decides to grab or anything that a baby does. Again, you want your dog to sort of, again, this is a way to really cover your bases. So I'm going to sort of take it all the way. But you want your dog to get used to all of the things the baby has to bring before you allow your dog to engage with your baby. Because you don't want your dog questioning certain things because that can sometimes lead to bad situations, right? Some dogs really do get excited or freak out when the baby cries, and that dog should not be able to engage with the baby or toddler. Okay, so what all I'm saying is, bottom line, you got to control your dog. The more control you can have over your dog, the better transition it's going to be. When Oakley first saw my Great Dane, when Oakley first saw Reggie, he growled, and it was a nervous growl. But since then, Oakley has gone up to him. He's still a little cautious of him, which is fine, you know. But my other two dogs are totally fine with Reggie. The petting, grabbing, and all that good stuff is all good. And it's awesome to see, actually. It's awesome to see them get along. Oakley's a little younger. He's a little bit more irritable, I would say, than my other two dogs, which is probably why he's here. But anyway, it's been going great. It just takes time. If you guys have any questions about what I just said, feel free to ask those questions. If you have any scenarios you want to run by me, please feel free to ask. Okay, how do you feel about multiple dog households? I added a fourth dog to my pack last year, and I have so much jealousy between the dogs wanting attention. The youngest is a English Springer Spaniel who is female and 11 months old and has been involved in numerous fights with others. I'm in the process of rehoming her, which I hate, but I cannot seem to achieve balance pack since adding her. Well, and I would question again, how much control you have over your pack. You should be able to have the ability to stop play with your voice. And I say play because if you can stop play, you really can stop the potential of fighting. You should have the control to stop play. And if when your dogs are playing seem out of control, then you again want to be able to say stop, no, whatever you want to say, and they stop. That's really how you're going to get a pack to get along. Now, you also have to remember that you can you should be only giving them attention, especially the ones who are fighting. Only give them attention one at a time. You don't want to pet multiple dogs at the same time. You want to probably avoid treats at the same time, and you probably want to avoid having toys or bones on the floor at the same time. Um, yeah, I mean, that's crazy. 4 dogs is a lot, but it's not unmanageable. Those dogs can at least get along with each other, and they don't have to love each other, but they can respect one another, but they have to respect you first. Um, they have to be able to respect the pack leader. And so that's my rule of thumb. If I can get the dogs to respond to me when they're playing, then and I know things can quickly escalate, but um, I can usually they don't even get to the fighting thing because I have that voice control right away. So that may be what you want to achieve with your pack, to be able to stop them and maybe put them in a sit or a down, and for at least 45 seconds, let them chill out, and then let them move back on. But their fighting is definitely something that you can control if you hold their behavior accountable. All right. Thanks for your question. Feel free to ask another. Okay. How is Brandy around other dogs? She is avoiding them so far. She is goes around and pees everywhere. She marks like a male dog, um, but not has not chosen to engage yet, quite yet. She's been eyeballing Oakley, and I'm talking about with those sweet eyes. She's with those flirtatious eyes, but she's kind of a little hesitant yet. He's a big boy, um, but I'll keep you updated on that. But for now, she's just kind of walking around the yard, and like I said, she's marking. So that's her. Dogs and children, dogs and children. It's a beautiful thing, man. I'm telling you. I mean, my boy loves. I'm watching my parents' dog now. He's a boxer, and he is just. He doesn't. I can't even get him that excited. He gets so excited for Rocky. He, when he's outside, he's got to be by the glass door and up on the glass door, and he goes woof woof. Like, he is so crazy about Rocky, and it's awesome. Um, but again, it's also awesome to see my three get comfortable with him. Um, and one thing about Reggie that is cool is um, he's kind of he's kind of cautious. He's not obnoxious, although he's obnoxious to Rocky now. But at first, he kind of stops in front of him and just looks at him. Uh, excuse me. And so I don't know. Maybe he'll be a dog trainer one day. Cheers, Mark. That's awesome. Spot is still doing good, man. I miss that place. Spot for dogs was a dog daycare that I worked at down in Georgia, and it's probably the best place I had. Best place I ever had a job. I mean, best place I worked for. The people there was great. The dogs were great. It was just awesome. All right, let's answer some more questions. What do you say? Okay. I can get to them. Oh, there. All right. What's the best way to prevent prey instinct? For example, we have been working with my our dog off leash with e-collar, and the neighbor's cat ran past, and he couldn't resist the chase. When he was called back and corrected with the e-collar, he came back, but would like to stop him from chasing in the first place. Well, I think you did the great thing. As long as he listened in that scenario, as long as he decided to do it, and then he had to have come back, like you said, then that in itself is going to uh, help him control his impulse whenever he does see that cat again. So the best way is to keep that going, and you'll start to see his sort of impulsive behavior dwindle. But all you have to do is be out there with him in that situation and repeat exactly what you did in order to help with that. All right. Oh, Spot. Oh, Spot. Okay, Spot still gets nervous around strange people. Would another dog help or hurt? It would depend on the other dog. If just get a friendly, a people friendly dog. Don't get a a dog that would be fearful around people because that would hurt. But if the dog is overly friendly, then it could help for sure. Yeah. And feel free to reach out, you guys, too, for some more advice or even some training too. We can definitely help with that. All right. Thanks for your question. Okay. Next question. I have a pit bull slash mastiff, 1 year old, and a black mouth cur, 3 years old. Lots of energy on rainy days. What do you recommend for tiring them out in the house? No stairs. I would recommend that you can take them on a walk when it rains. Yeah, I walk with my dogs in the rain. They're fine. And guess what? They'll go outside and go pee and poop in the rain. Um, as long as obviously it's not storming, it's kind of fun actually. But yeah, I take my dogs out in the rain when I walk. That gets them used to it. They actually enjoy it, and it's fun. Nice off leash walk in the rain. Pretty cool. So that's what I would do. Thank you for your question. All right, folks, we are live on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. All of you guys watching from all these outlets, please feel free to ask any questions you like, uh, especially if it comes with if you want to talk about children and dogs. We are kind of focusing on that this podcast um, because it's a touchy subject. I had a dog. I trained a dog once who bit a child in the face pretty bad, and we went in for some training. I just did some private lessons and whatnot, but since then the dog has not bit. Excuse me, not bit the child again. It has passed since now, but after the training, the dog never bit the child again. But we did have to make sure all the other things were in control. Let's just let's just focus on that for a minute here. Is your dog allowed to bark its head off when you're home? Okay, so let's just go over some behaviors. Okay, if you have a dog who's nervous around children, right? And if you have a dog who's nervous around children, let's make this checklist for this just three things to improve the the dog's behavior around children. Because sometimes it's not about the child; it's just about the lack of trust and respect that it could have for its owner, lack of control. So I'll just tell you the example. I'll give you that example of this dog that I'm talking about. The dog that I'm talking about, um, the one that bit the child in the face, was also allowed to uh, bark its head off when people or the door rang or the mailman or the UPS man. Bark, 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 no matter what was going on. Another dog he saw outside of the window, bark, 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 bark. Those two things, child biting and dog barking its head off when it wants, no matter what, Those two things are definitely related. They are not separate issues. The dog was allowed on all the furniture whenever it wanted. The dog was terrible on leash. The dog could just do what it wanted. Okay, so again, if you have a dog who is uh, apprehensive about children or anything for that matter, start improving those supplemental behaviors because they do help. They do help in the decision making when it comes to if a dog will bite or not. I rarely get a dog who is aggressive that doesn't show out of control behavior in many different areas. All right. Okay, we got a question from Jennifer. I am bringing my dog for one of your leash aggression sessions. Is there anything I need to bring? Yes. You want to bring the dog? You want to bring a leash and maybe some water for the dog because it may be hot. But other than that, bring money and yourself. So I think that about does it. All right. Okay, so let's answer another question. Oh, I had a vet call me today and try to tell me about this pit bull and this person who the vet said the person made the dog more aggressive because it it was um, play biting. It was allowing the dog to bite while they were playing, and that was the reason for the dog chasing down kids on the bike and biting them and biting the guy who they were playing with. Uh, but so I guess that is kind of a myth, and also something that people maybe understand or don't understand. But play biting and biting are two different things. Like the dog knows the difference. If the dog is play biting, because that's what they do when they play, then they know the difference between play biting and actually biting. So you can't actually teach a dog to be aggressive through playing biting, and the dog is using its mouth. You can't teach a dog how to be. I mean, you can, but it just doesn't happen. Um, because how do I know that? Because I've taught many dogs how to bite, and they've never bitten me. Uh, they've just bitten what I wanted them to bite, and if they accidentally, like their teeth touches my hands, they immediately stop or soften up. So you can literally be playing tug of war with your dog, and a respectful dog, if you put your hand in their mouth, they'll stop, or they know the difference that quickly between what they're supposed to bite and what they're not. And so again, you can't teach a dog how to be aggressive through play. Although play is sort of an aggressive activity, it's not biting out of fear and it's not biting out of brattiness. Um, so there's that. Do you have any tips on teaching a dog to not mouth or play bite? Yes, I do. So if you have a dog who is being mouthy, um, what I like to do with my dogs is grab their bottom jaw. Put your hand like this, and just grab it until they pull back, and then they won't bite you again. If they do, do it again. But every single dog will will back out of that, and do it until they stop biting you. That's how you get them to stop. My female pit bull definitely is a is a she's a hard mouth dog, which just means when she play bites, it does hurt, and so she doesn't do it anymore though because she now knows if I even put my hand in this position, she knows to back off because I'm gonna grab that little thing and hold on to it. She doesn't like that. So give the dog something that it doesn't like, um, and then it'll try to avoid uh, getting that thing it doesn't like again. But that goes for puppies as well. All right. Thanks for your question. Feel free to ask another. Okay, says we have a 1-year-old Dutch Shepherd who's around the 7-year-old, quiet, often, and he has never been vicious towards anyone. But often we find him instinctively trying to herd and nip at the lawnmower four wheeler, our daughter on the swing, and we can't seem to curb this behavior. Any suggestions? Yeah, I'd get an e-collar for that dog, um, and when the dog decides to herd, I would give the dog some stimulation and tell the dog no. That would be my advice. It'd be the easiest way and the most effective way. I had to train a Belgian Malinois not to herd the golf cart, and when it was herding the golf cart, and I was on a farm, so there was like baby calves or whatever, baby cows, and the dog would become so stimulated that it would nip at the baby the calves or whatever. And so one session with the e-collar, um, just putting it on the stimulation that worked, the level that works, which just means high enough to get the dog to stop, you know, um, and so that's what I would suggest. But yeah, that's some that sounds like a controlling dog for sure. So thank you for your question. Feel free to ask another. Okay, my dog is throwing up most of his meals. What should I do? I would maybe skip a meal if you're feeding the dog twice a day, three times a day. Depends on how old the dog is. If the dog is an adult dog, then I would, um, you know, just skip a meal maybe, and then see if its stomach is upset and it needs to get the whatever is in it out of it and not irritate it with more food. And then maybe I would change food to see if maybe it's the food. But anytime my dogs have diarrhea and and uh, and I skip a meal, but your dog's not having diarrhea. It's throwing up most of its food. I would also maybe consider going to the vet. I don't know. I'm no vet, so I can't tell you, but I could just tell you what I would do. Yeah. All right. We'll have time for a couple more questions. So get them in, you guys. Get them in. Uh, okay. Ready? Here we go. We have a hunting dog, 9 month old. He gets very excited every time he sees you that he starts to nip your legs. You can go through the bathroom and come back, and he will start wiggling and nipping. We have taught him when he gets excited to find a toy to hold in his mouth. This keeps his mouth busy so he doesn't nip, and then we can play. Okay, cool. That's not really a question, but it sounds like you may have gotten a solution. So yeah, if you can teach him how to hold something in his mouth, which if he's a hunting dog, you want him to do anyway, then I think think that's good. That's real good. Some people have this myth too that for hunting dogs, you never want to. What is it now? I forgot it. Um, anyway, I know for sport dogs, when you're teaching them how to hold something, you never want to snatch anything out of their mouth. And that goes in general. Like if you guys are just playing tug with your dog, I wouldn't recommend. I saw a trainer do this online, but you don't want to um, snatch the toy out of the young dog's mouth, especially for puppies. Their teeth are growing, and they're still fragile. But even, excuse me, even adult dogs, you don't want to snatch it. You want them to let go, or you want to be able to trick them when they decide to chew on it. Um, then you snatch it away from them when they chew on it. As their mouth is open. But but you really want to also teach the dog to bite with its back teeth, not its canines, because canines are a little bit more fragile, um, and so with their back teeth they can hold longer and they're a lot more stronger. So when you're playing tug, try and see if you can get your dog to grip with those back teeth. It's just a little bit more. It's just a little safer. Okay. Oh, right. I think we got them all. Let me just check over again. Make sure I didn't leave anybody behind. Yeah, I think that's it. Hey guys, I will be going to Madison on October 22nd. Be coming to Madison. I'll be there the 21st and 22nd. And thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. I really, really do. Um, but yeah, I'll be in Madison October 21st and the 22nd. The health department, the Madison Health Department, has brings in a speaker every year, and they're want me to what up, what up, what up. They want me to uh, speak, so I'll be speaking to them about um, dog training. And of course, maybe working some dogs live. So if you guys, any people who are watching that are in Madison, want to get together, maybe train or talk dogs, let me know. All right, all right, you guys, I'm gonna get out of here. We'll be here next week, same time. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. Give me a thumbs up, heart, like, whatever you want to do. I appreciate it. See you. Instagram.